All right, dear ones, except it's saying that, oh, okay, yes, no, we are good. We're good. Welcome, dear ones. Welcome. We are grateful to be here with all of you here live. It is Rachel Cooley here with a beautiful and amazing Janice Edwards.
Oh,
Welcome, Janice.
thank you, Rachel. Beautiful, anointed, impressive, and dear sister friend. I'm so glad to be here with you. Thank you for the invitation.
Oh, you're so welcome, Janice. You're so welcome. And dear ones, welcome to the Divine Impact Show with Rachel Cooley, where spiritual women, healers, and light workers catalyze miraculous blessings for themselves and others with the angels and with the divine. And yes, it's perfect to have Janice here today with her beautiful golden background, such an amazing divine one. And Janice and I met many years ago through an entrepreneurial program. And we have been supporting each other ever since. And we meet on a regular basis, on a monthly basis, with other beautiful women in our beautiful divine board of directors, right, Janice?
Yes, I love our board of directors, and I'm so grateful that we've had the opportunity to get to know each other better, to support each other through different seasons, and in walking in our purpose. So, this was such a nice invitation, and I really appreciate it. And hello to all of your viewers, too. Thank you for inviting me to be here.
Oh, you're so welcome, Janice. Yes, dear ones, as you arrive here on my Rachel Cooley page, and I'll be sharing in a little bit here after I introduce Janice to our Angel Sisterhood group as well. We'd love for you to say hello in the comments, letting us know that you're here with us live. That would be really wonderful so that we can welcome you in here with Janice. And then as I get ready to introduce her as well, with sharing her amazing and impressive bio, which is very extensive. And I was just telling Janice, I'm so impressed, Janice, with your amazing bio and all that you've accomplished. It's really incredible.
Oh,
You know?
that's so kind of you. Well, thank you. I feel very blessed and, thank God for grace and mercy and the opportunity to have done many of the things that I've done. So, you know
Oh,
how
yes.
that happens, that you're in it, you're outside of a dream, then you're in your dream, and you don't realize how much has been done until you look back at certain things. And so this is a great opportunity to reflect. And thank you for that compliment. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome, Janice. So let's hear about the amazing, incredible Janice Edwards. So Janice Edwards is an award-winning television and radio show talk show host, and she's an Emmy nominated producer, co-author of the best-selling international novel, or a book, I should say, Step Into Your Brilliance, In Demand MC. This is awesome. I love that. And media coach. Janice is also the creator and the host and the executive producer of the Janice Edwards TV show Bay Area Vista, launched originally on NBC in the Bay Area in 2002. And now Janice is celebrating its 22nd year on local stations and platforms. Janice, that's incredible.
Oh, thank you.
You're so welcome, Janice. And in Janice's inspiring career, she has conducted more than 12,000, yes, it is, 12,000 interviews. Guests have included that she's interviewed Oprah Winfrey, Deepak Chopra, Barack Obama, wow, Greta Gerwig, Kevin Costner, Robert Redford. This is amazing, Janice's list. Kerry Washington, Jerry Seinfeld, John Travolta, Gloria Steinem, Ileana Van Zandt, Les Brown, Chris Pine, Dr. Cornel West, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, John Cena, and many more. And Janice has been working in media since serving as a co-host of a teen talk show at the age of 16. That is so incredible, Janice. Your accomplishments really are amazing.
Oh, Rachel, thank you so much. Like I said, I've been blessed to have many opportunities.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. And we would like to start out with this question here, Janice. So, why did you choose media? Just what got you on that path to start that you've been on this incredible career?
Well, thank you so much. It's interesting. I thought for many years that I was going to be a psychologist and then possibly an attorney. But I did love it when I was 16 and we used to do interviews at record stores. Okay, that's really aging it, but
I
record
remember that.
stores, remember record stores? And so we would do the interviews there talking about parents, school, different things. And I noticed that people would say, "Oh, I heard that show," and it had a way of reaching people. So, one of the things that I've always been committed to is trying to help people solve problems, even as I'm grappling with my own. I thought about psychology, I thought about international law at one point. My father was an attorney. And so after leaving Atlanta to go to Harvard for undergraduate school, my dad came to visit me freshman parents' weekend. And he said he was giving up law. And law is so important, don't get me wrong. And just th- shouts out to all the attorneys out there. But for my dad at that point in his life, he was disillusioned with it as a vehicle for change. He said, "You might not want to get up and deal with people's problems every day in that way. Do what you love to do. Do something that you get up and do, even if you didn't get paid for it." And so that really stuck with me and resonated. And then before my senior year in college, I was studying in Spain and I was fluent in Spanish and I went into stores and different things. And sometimes people were saying negative things, sometimes because of the color of my skin or just how they felt about Americans. But what I realized is that media and pictures and impressions lead society, and then the law follows to really enact what has already been changed. And so I wanted to be part of that leadership. My decision was instead of going to law school, I decided to go to graduate school in journalism. And I wanted to have an opportunity to create stories that had a positive impact. When I do my show, I think sometimes, how do I want people to feel at the end of the show? And many times when you're putting together a show, in terms of when I was doing news, would be a serious story, medium serious, and then the kicker, which is something fun. Why? Because you want people to leave feeling better than they did when they started. And as we know, especially in news these days, I remember watching the news as a teenager and feeling so depressed at times and thinking, what do you do about that? Well, there are things you can do, obviously, with divine impact to make a difference in the world, but also through media. And now media is so ubiquitous. Everybody has an opportunity to share their thoughts and to connect with their tribe, if you will, in new ways because of YouTube and Facebook and all of the mediums that we have now. But that was part of the journey. And my mom always encouraged me to do what I loved to do as well. And I had told her I loved acting, first of all. And I said, "I'm not going to college. I'm just going to act." And she says, "You're going to college, young lady. Get over it." And so as a mom, you can appreciate that, right? How in the
Oh
teenage
my gosh.
mind, you think, "Oh, well, this is just what I want to do." And parents just don't understand, like that old Will Smith song. But
That's a good point. That's a good
yes.
point. That's amazing, Janice. Wow. I love that that really got you on your path with media. And I have many questions I wanted to ask you, but I wanted to go to the next one because our whole theme is on making a divine impact in the world with you sharing your gifts. So how do you answer that question? Like, how do you make a divine impact? I know you do it in so many ways, but please share with us in your own words about how you make such a difference in the world.
Oh, well, thank you for that. First and foremost, for me, it's my relationship with God. That's central to my life. It has been for as long as I can remember. And I know that for different people, that means different things. I'll share a little bit about what I remember from an early age is being able to hear things before they happened. The first time I realized that was happening was I was 4 years old. I was in the bathtub and I yelled down to my great grandmother who was downstairs in the house, "I'm coming, Granny." And she said, I didn't say anything, but I was about to tell you, "Janice, get out of the tub." Well, I had heard her in the spirit before she actually said it in the natural. And so I
Wow.
thought, okay, that was one of the one of the most memorable times that it stuck out for me. And then I also used to have dreams, and I had dreams and I would see things before they happened. At one point in my life, I saw that my mother's best friend was going to die. I also saw the school I was going to go to that I'd never seen before in the natural. But when my mother's best friend passed away, I said to God, well, if I can't change things, I don't want to see what's going to happen. Now, that's a 9-year-old way of thinking about things. But what happened was that gift was not as strong within me then. I would certainly have instincts, but I wasn't seeing things as clearly. And so the reason I mention this is because when it comes to divine impact, and then at the age of 11, I'd already been baptized, but I joined my church. I was wondering, am I going to get the call from God? And I really took that responsibility seriously from having read the Bible and when Jesus was 11 and what happened. And then I was president of Methodist Youth Fellowship at the age of 14. So that spiritual understanding and the importance of that in my life has been something that has shaped my interaction with others because, for example, now whether it's doing a talk like we're having now, an interview, or if I'm coaching someone, the spiritual aspect is something that I like to also bring in a way that works for that person for empowerment. I became an ordained minister in 2016, and I also do sermons and talks. I also have done inner child work because, like many of us, I have experienced what some would call trauma in my life. So, bringing all that together in terms of divine impact, it's how do I connect with others and help them connect with their ability to really step into their brilliance, like the title of that book, in a way. So, what does that mean in terms of divine impact? It means when I am coaching someone and we talk about dreams, desires, and fears, even, I'll touch on what was a great experience that you had when you felt totally empowered. I love the song that Whitney Houston made famous, One Moment in Time.
Oh, yes. Oh, I love that song.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
so
And so
good.
sometimes we need to understand that after the pandemic and when people started showing up on Zoom, when I was working with people, I was trying to explain that you don't throw away this opportunity because sometimes you feel like, oh, I don't want to be on camera today. And it's like, I understand that. So where do we work with that? Is that the inner child is like, I want to go out and play. I don't want to do this. Or is the inner child saying, I want to be on camera, but the adult is saying, oh my gosh, do I have to deal with this again? And how do you find within all of those feelings the way to authentically show up, to honor yourself? Because I used to be aware when I was doing different shows, and especially, and when I was reporting also, because you're out in the field and you have to
Yeah.
hurry, then be present on camera. How do you deal with all of those things that are also encroaching upon your life? And so I have techniques and tools that I use when I'm working with people. It's like, okay, you put that there. Like one is the drawer experiment. And I learned to share this with a lot of people after I interviewed Ariana Huffington,
Wow.
because she was saying that her critic was just going crazy even during the interview. And I said, what is your critic saying? She said, my critic is saying I have a funny voice and I should never talk on TV. Now, here she is, totally powerful in all this, but there's the critic. And we all know that, right? We're familiar with that experience. And so one of the things that I share with people is to imagine an open drawer. And then everything, the critic and maybe the fight, if you had a fight with a spouse or child or boss or something, and you have to then show up, put it in the drawer, close the drawer, say, I'll come back and deal with you later. And so it becomes a way of becoming free in that moment to have your divine impact. Because a lot of times the critic is saying, you don't deserve it. You don't deserve to speak up. Who are you to think? It's like the Marianne Williamson poem, right? Who are you to think this? Who are you not to be? You are a child of God. You're playing
Yeah.
small does not serve the world. So it's how do we show up and play big, and then at the same time take care of all those other things that impact us? And certainly, Rachel, you know me through the BOD that sometimes it's those other things that are impacting that show up more than, hello, I'm here. I'm grateful to be here, glad to be here, of service and in collaboration. How do we do great things together? So that's what I try to do in terms of impact in writing as well. The chapter that I wrote in the book, Step Into Your Brilliance, is called It's Showtime. It's Time to Shine.
I
And
love it.
yeah, and that's taken from actually the theme song of my show that Ron Scott and his team wrote, and it says, Janice Edwards, it's showtime, it's time to shine. And so, and I tell people to put their names in it and imagine. So it's Rachel Cooley. It's showtime. It's time to shine. And even hearing that, it just informs the cells of our bodies in a new way. It's like, oh, okay, I get it. Showtime. This is what we do now. And so that's part of really connecting for divine impact to one, practice the self-care that allows us to feel like we deserve to show up, to have it. And then from there, connecting with others in a way that says, how do we do something extraordinary together? And sometimes the
Yes.
extraordinary is even somewhat ordinary. It's in those moments of saying, I see you, I hear you, I love you, I'm here for you.
Wow, Janice. Words of wisdom for life. And also really to help us in particular to show up, to shine our lights brightly. And because of a lot of the women that follow me, on my Rachel Cooley page, business
Yeah.
page, and the Angel Sister, a lot of us are entrepreneurs. A lot of us are having our own shows or doing our own lives, doing our classes online. And a lot of what you just shared is like really incredible words of wisdom to help us to show up, to shine our lights. And I love your drawer technique. That's wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
Like, we will close
Happy.
that drawer now and we can address that
Exactly.
later.
And sometimes, and before the pandemic, most times I would say, if you're driving somewhere, then leave it in the car, even if it all rode in with you. Leave it in the car.
Put it in the
You can get
car.
it later. Don't bring it into the studio with you if you're going to be on camera somewhere.
That's powerful. I love it. I love it. Shine our lights bright. And I love also, Janice, how you brought in that Marianne Williamson quote, who are you not to be? Right?
Yeah,
We are amazing, brilliant children of God. Our
yeah,
playing small does not serve the world, right?
exactly. Yes. And I think that through everything that we've seen recently, and many of us have dealt with loss, whether it's sudden or even expected, but what comes to mind and it becomes very apparent is that we may never pass this way again, not in this form, not in this way. And we're here for a purpose.
We
It's
are.
because we're here for a purpose. And that's part of with my company. I say, you're here for a purpose and we're here to let the world know. And so that's with the strategic communications and all of those things. It's tuning into that because I think once we identify that and we know we're in alignment, you mentioned NBC. I know when I was working there and I'd worked at CBS and at Cron when it was the NBC station before, when I came to NBC, which became NBC Bay Area, KNTV, it was
Yes.
in the 125th market. And the then head of the company, Don Cornwall, had said to the network, well, we'll pay you to run your shows instead of you paying us. So it really was a David versus Goliath move. And then all of us
Wow.
who were there were part of the team. I was community relations director as well as host and executive producer of a show that they had then. And then later I named the show Bay Area Vista, and we transformed it somewhat. But we jumped from the 125th market to the fifth largest market. And so, and then NBC decided they liked it so much that they bought it from Granite, who was the company was doing that. So for those years, those almost 9 years when I was working there, I was really clear on the purpose of serving the community. I was doing 100 events a year and also helping to set up others as well as doing the show and then also working with our sister station Telemundo. And so what I had known and believed at 16 and it had navigated in different ways through my life was confirmed during a time when I was also dealing with my mother being very ill. And it was in the 14th year of her 16-year illness that I wound up producing independently. And so I mention all of this because in the chapter that I wrote in Step Into Your Brilliance, I talk about being there to see my mother take her last breath.
Wow.
Then
Wow,
reflecting
Janice.
on, yeah, and then reflecting on was she proud of me? Had I served her well in that way? And one of the reasons that that was so poignant for me is that I mentioned how my dad had talked about doing something that you love to do 7 years after that conversation, and he was young then, young now. It's funny, when I was 20, it seemed older, but
All relative, right?
isn't it? 53 now doesn't seem as old as it did then. But he died suddenly. And so the whole idea of us being here and fulfilling what we're called to do is something that resonates with me. And I'm also really committed in coaching and in working with others to ideally help others stop being in unproductive cycles. The things that I didn't know in my 20s to be able to help people, whatever age, 20, 30, 40, 50, wherever you are, 60, wherever you are, 70, 80, but there's always time.
Yes.
ideally to change if we do that in the present time and don't take time for granted. So it's a conundrum, if you will. On the one hand, we have to say there's time to do these things because we want grace, but at the same time, and we pray to God for that, but at the same time, we don't want to squander that time. So
Right.
and that comes back to then the one moment in time in media when we're present, when we're here. It's like, this is our moment. What are we doing? Make it shine.
Wow. I love it. Make it shine. Make it shine. Make it, and make it shine in our own unique ways, right, Janice?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. That's another thing. I remember having a coach trying to help me with that people want to see you. And these days on social media, there's even less of a veneer. But at the time, she said, people don't want to see the Janice Edwards who gets up and has something in her eye in the morning. They want to see
Oh,
Janice Edwards, it's but between the total veneer of something and the okay, let's not be so transparent that we turn people off. There's a place for authenticity. There's a place for being real. And
yes.
we see that more now than ever. It's like, this is what I'm eating. It looks good. People weigh in. Oh, I like that. Oh, you shouldn't eat that or whatever. It's interesting now to have the chorus because we want our tribe on social media. And then there are also sometimes those people that are not so loving and kind and
Good point.
navigating
Good
all
point.
that, right, with the choice of I'm going to show up and live as authentically as possible and be true to myself and honor the gift of this day that I've been given. Thank you, God, that I'm here. My eyes are open. I'm awake. Let's go.
Let's do it. I love it. Oh, wow. Beautiful. So inspiring, Janice. You're just so incredibly inspiring. I just want to acknowledge we have some viewers here. We have Tamron here from earlier when I read your bio, Janice. She shared, wow, that's an amazing lineup of guests, Janet, that you've interviewed.
Oh, thank
So that's
you.
amazing, really. I mean, Barack Obama, Deepak Chopra, Gloria Steinem, like the list is incredible of all the amazing political figures, celebrities that you have interviewed. Wow. And I'm just feeling as I'm sharing about that, and we also have Hector here. Welcome, Hector. So glad that you're with us live. Um, that must have been amazing too, because you were interviewing all those people that are making the divine impact in their own ways as well, right, Janice?
Yes, yes, absolutely. I remember I was reading a book and it was by a state senator that people said was going to be someone really important. It's like, oh gosh, I hope I get this name right when I say it, Barack Obama. And so when we met him and he came to the studio, everyone said, oh my goodness, he's so charismatic. We're going to hear more from him. And then I tell this story also. I used to tell my interns that I supervised, always stay in touch with people because I'm from Chicago. I was born in Chicago and he was from Chicago. He said, well, next time you're in Chicago, look up Michelle and me and gave me a number to call. Didn't get to Chicago, didn't call the number. Sure, the number's changed by now, but it's just so important, ideally, to stay in touch.
It is so important to stay in touch. That's amazing. So amazing, Janice. And all that you share with us about, your divine relationship with God and how that's really helped you to foster and for you to live in your divine potential, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I believe in miracles and that prayer changes things. I've seen it firsthand. And I've been blessed when God uses me as an intercessor. I went to Bible College, Shiloh Bible College. Shiloh Christian Fellowship is the church that I joined in 1992 when I rededicated my life to Christ. And I have seen miracles. And then not only have I experienced them and others, but people have told me about them. And I'm going to share this one
Please
because
do.
I think that one of my favorite books is Fourth Dimension Parts 1 and 2 by Dr. Paul Yanji Cho, where it's all about miracles. And I was talking with someone, we were serving on a board together, and this person was a physician. She mentioned that as she was doing surgery on someone, she noticed that the cells were cancerous. She said she started praying, and before her eyes and the eyes of everyone on her team, the cells turned from cancerous to benign.
Wow.
Exactly. So a lot of people hearing that will say, well, where's the empirical this and the measurement? But as a doctor who had seen so many things, she was sharing this miracle. And the reason I mention that is because a lot of times, and there may be someone watching today who feels like they've gotten bad news, whether it's health-wise, financial, relationship-wise. And so prayer changes things. The scripture says, ask and it shall be given, seek and ye shall find, knock and the door shall be opened. And there's no shame in going to the wall and asking God for what you want and desire. And prayerfully, that answer is a yes. They talk about King Hezekiah, how he was told to prepare to die. And he turned away from the world, turned his face to the wall, and the Lord granted him 15 more years of life. We have the stories, and some people say, well, it's just allegory, but this is the thing that I've met people who, and we've heard about them, who've had near-death experiences. So it's just like when Jesus said, Lazarus, come forth. It's like, he's been dead for all these days. Are you serious? It's like, but he came forth. And so why do we have this information? Because as we are on this plane and experiencing certain things, as you know, because it's your life's work, there
Yes.
are angels and there are opportunities for something to be transformed.
Yes.
Sometimes it's like ask, as I mentioned, ask and it shall be given. And I know that I had an experience once where I was in the hospital and I had an operation and got pneumonia. And I felt like I was actually it was like a dream. I was falling face first. But I knew that somehow if I couldn't shake out of the dream before my face hit the floor, that that was going to be it. And as I was struggling in this and trying to come out of this it felt like this heavy stupor, I heard, I sat before you, life and death. Choose life that you might have it and have it more abundantly. And I said, I choose life. And suddenly
Yes.
something broke in the spirit. And later the doctor said, we thought we were going to lose you. And so I share that because
Wow.
somebody might need to know that if you can hold on, sometimes people are dealing with depression and feeling like I can't hold on another day, but if you can, reach out to someone, don't stay isolated and or cry out, God help me, Jesus be here, something to break from that,
Yes.
that that new opportunities are really available. And so that's part of the divine impact, to know and trust that. And so even if people say, well, you do that for someone else, what about you? It's like, I don't understand it, but I know that it's real. People
Yes.
have said to me, I felt you praying for me and something broke. And it's not me, it's God using me. And so I'm grateful and humbled by that. But it's important that that's the most important thing while we are in this dimension, to hold on for that. Don't let the oppressive things and the circumstances make you feel less than. And I know personally how that can be. People can do that. There are all the isms that are there. There are all
Yes.
the challenges that are there. Even it can be credit or identity theft or other things that make people feel like, oh my gosh, I just can't another day. Take a moment, practice self-care. You don't have to engage at that same level, but you need to be here, because I'm a living witness that that moment that feels like you can't hold on anymore will change, but it will only be possible if you hang on through that. So that's part of what fuels my passion for life.
Wow. Jess. Sister, speak it. You're amazing. And we have Alina Christina here. She says, wow, chills listening to this. So beautiful.
Oh, Alina Christina, bless you. Thank you. I'm so glad you're with us.
Oh my gosh, Janice. I mean, what you're saying is medicine for our souls
Mm,
during intense times.
yes.
I mean, even me who works with the angels, life happens and we can get stressed and worried, and
Yes.
sometimes we can get so stressed we don't remember our amazing tools to call in the divine. So
Yeah.
you're bringing us inspiration to remember to call in the divine, to call it in, to choose, yes, life,
Yes. Yes.
to break, as you're saying, I love the words break, to clear, to let go of that which is not of the light or of the
Right. Yes. And I think it's so important, and you do this so beautifully, Rachel, for people to understand
yeah.
that those things that they're feeling, those spirits are real.
Yes.
And a lot of times that's not popular to say. I know I was visiting a city that I hadn't visited in years, and there were some dark spirits there. And I thought, whoa, I don't remember experiencing this last time I was there. And it was interesting. It was just, I was having a meal actually with the minister who performed the eulogy and the service for my mom when she passed away. And we were sitting there, and the waiter came up, and there was just this darkness, this just like, whoa. I mean, to the point where I thought, do I want to eat the food that he brings? You
Do
know, you
I
have to
want
pray
yeah,
about
it's like
these
bless
things.
the food, bless the
Right,
food.
but it's just like so the minister and I both, he and I both started praying, and then I felt that peace. And that's another thing that I didn't understand for years, is that there is a peace that comes when you are in alignment with what God has for you, and it is that peace that surpasses all understanding. And so in the midst of sometimes even the turmoil of dramatic relationships that can feel like, oh yes, it's so much love, but it's so crazy. It's crazy love, but it's love. It's like, but there's amazing, healthy love. And there's also a peace, even with the passion, even with the excitement and sometimes the uncertainty, but it's
Yes.
different. And I think that that's something, whether it's first love at 16 or later in life love at whatever age, we need to understand that God's peace that informs us is real. It's like they talk about the vagus nerve and how it's within our intestinal system that, really everything is informed. And so that gut feeling,
Yes.
something to trust. It's
Yes.
like you can ask a 7-year-old, do you know when you do something wrong? And they'll say, yes. Do you know why? And so you say, do you know why? It's like, because God has put that within you. And that's really something to help you as you grow. And I can look back on times in my life when I ignored that gut feeling for
Yes.
whatever reason. It's like, oh, you're being too judgmental or this and that. But now I trust it. It's like I trust it. And I just encourage people who may be feeling doubt, because what happens is sometimes it's well-meaning loved ones, and they will say something, but it's not the healthiest thing. It's like I have a free gift on my website, and it's 5 keys to being the star in the reality show of your own life.
Oh yeah, I'll pop the link to your website in.
Okay,
That's where
great.
they get the gift on your website.
Yes. Yes, they can download it. And so out of the keys, so the keys are: connect to your passion and purpose, craft your message, prep for your inner selfie. And then the one that I was thinking of just now is cut bad guest from the roster. And so,
Oh,
and then number 5 is get ready for lights, camera, action. But this number 4 is something that I mentioned it when I was talking about the critic and interviewing Ariana Huffington. I mention it now because whatever it is, whether it's our own habits, like, oh, I'm allergic to this, but I really like to eat it. It's like, is that really your best choice?
yes, yes.
To having someone in your life who, you might have heard this phrase before, someone will say, you might not like this, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's like,
Like,
oh,
what kind of
I,
introduction is that?
right. Why would you say that if you understand it? But there are people who consistently will say that. So if you notice that there are people in your life who are constantly encouraging or fostering a sense of lack of comfort or dis-ease,
Yeah,
pay attention to that.
yeah.
There are times when it may be that you have to contain the amount of time you spend or set boundaries, or sometimes you may have to just distance yourself completely.
Yes,
Trust that, because that shadow is affecting the ability to have divine impact in the world.
yes. Let's transform that.
Yes.
That's so powerful. Wow, Janice, everything you have shared today is just so compelling, so moving, and really a lot of words to live by, and to help up level our lives so we can shine our lights more brightly, making our own unique divine impacts in the world.
Thank you. I'm so glad I was able to share. It's been such an honor
Oh,
to be.
you're so welcome, Janice. I'm so honored as well to have you on my show. So
Oh,
beautiful. So I popped the link, dear ones, in the chat to Janice's website. And right when you go to her website, her free gift is there for you right there under her beautiful picture of her
Oh,
at the Jazz Festival, right? I think that's where you were.
yes, yes. Oh, I emceed the Jazz Festival for about 8 years. And that's another one where I remember one year I was sitting on the grass with a friend of mine and her son, and I was looking up at the stage at Alita Adams performing her song, Get Here. And I thought, I'd like to MC that one day. Then years later, I was on stage introducing Alita Adams as she sang Get Here. And so I thank God for the opportunity. It was wonderful doing all of that. I did it for 8 years straight before the pandemic. And I just encourage someone, if there's a dream, even as what seems like a small dream, you're somewhere and there's an inkling, just give it life, feed
Yes.
that dream, nurture it, and find out how to make it a reality. Because if it's for you and you continue to be persistent, then those doors will open.
Yes. Continue to be persistent, continue to follow your path, your guidance. The doors will open.
Yeah.
So beautiful, Janice. You are amazing.
Oh, so are you. Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome, Janice. It's been an incredible joy and honor and inspiration to have you on my show today, Janice.
You.
Thank you so much for taking the time to be here on my 14th episode of my show.
Oh my goodness, and that's a special number for me. My birthday's on the 14th. So thank
Perfect.
you. Thank you so much, Rachel, for this honor. Thank you for the work that you're doing. You make our world a better place and you just bring so much life and understanding and healing and joy to so many. And I'm honored to have been your guest and I'm honored to have you as a friend and a sister colleague in our BOD. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Janice. I'm just so moved by you, sister. Oh, wow. Incredible. So, dear ones, thanks so much for being a part of our beautiful Divine Impact show today, whether you've been live or on our replay. If you're on the replay, please let us know that you've been here. We'll go back to the comments later. And as we close out this episode with Janice of the Divine Impact show with Rachel Cooley, I just wanted to share, always remember, dear ones, that you're surrounded by the divine, by God, by your angels. They're always with you. And with your request for help and support, as Janice referred to earlier, they always come through, they always help you, and they are here to bring you miraculous blessings and miracles. So beautiful.
Oh, so
Mwah. Take care, dear ones. Many angel blessings, and we will see you all next time for my next Divine Impact show next Tuesday. That's going to be already April 2nd at noon Pacific. And we'll see you then. Thanks again, Janice. Angel
oh,
blessings, everyone.
thank you again, Rachel.
You're welcome. Take care, dear
Blessings to
ones, and
everyone.
bye for
Bye.
now. Mwah.
Bye.